GT back at you with the Vibe Podcast, coming to you with another one. Today's quick podcast is going to be entitled Respect in Its Many Forms. It's a great, glorious day. It was 74 degrees out in Midwest United States. Got a little cup, has my name on there. I like that. So yeah, we're going to dive into this real quick. You guys know how I feel about it. Respect is something that's missing in society today that has caused a lot of issues. And as I go through these things, you're going to kind of start to see the issues and why they exist. So respect is a gift, something you give to individuals. There is one type of respect that I believe in my book is earned. But all the other aspects of respect are a gift. It's something that you give somebody, right? And so let's look at the definition. What is the dictionary definition of respect? A feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Now, I know I spoke about this on a prior podcast. Abilities, qualities, and achievements. So achievements that's the thing where you get respect, where it's earned. And so you think about achievements, somebody getting promoted to supervisor is an achievement. Somebody going to school as a doctor, that's an achievement. The way people rule, the way people rule over other people and the things that they can get done, those are achievements. So people can respect your achievements, but not respect the man. So so as we go through these forms of respect, I'll kind of give you guys some examples as we kind of roll through them. So it's deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, and achievements. So, definition number 2. So, dictionary gives 2 definitions. Due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. Example, young people's lack of respect for their parents. So, that's an example of looking at it from a traditional thing or feelings or wishes, right? And so, based on tradition, you're supposed to respect your parents. And so, a lack of respect for your parents is going to fall under this category of respect. And I call it definition 2, or due regard. When I think of due regard, I think that it's something that is a must in order for us to be able to achieve what the things that we're trying to achieve. So for a kid to be able to have some success in their life, they got to start with respecting their parents, right? That is number 1. If you don't respect your parents, typically those kids end up in the system at some point. I've seen it in my work and in my line of work. I've seen it out in the world. That kids that lack this for their parents, things happen to them. We'll talk about that respect as we go deeper, right? So let's go through the breakdown, right? So I gave you the 2 dictionary definitions of respect, and now we'll kind of break into them and kind of break off and give you guys some examples. The respect of personhood. So that's respect 1. Respect of personhood. Each person has innate value. So everybody has value or something that they bring to the table. And this is not something where you look at what the person has. This is something where this goes more into what the person is. And biblically speaking, we're all created in God's image. So just based up on that, there is a level of respect that is automatic just based on the fact that you were created in his image and we are here on the earth together as human beings, right? So we're in community with a lot of people. Sometimes people get cliquey and they get into their groups and their churches and their teams and their schools, their fraternities. And so this is the basic level of respect, right? This is day 1 elementary respect. So the value is in who we are rather than our status in life or what we possess. So what you have and what you possess or your title doesn't affect this level of respect. This is the baseline level of respect here. And so I think that this is the number 1 thing that people miss because it's easy to focus on achievements and respect people for their achievements, because I think that as we kind of view individuals, we view other people, we look at it from a standpoint of, what do they have or what have they done, right? What do they have or what have they done? And this is taking us back to the baseline, the basic elementary teaching that everybody has something to bring to the table. So there's a level of respect that just comes with the fact that you're waking up today and you're walking out there trying to go get whatever it is that you're trying to go get, right? And this is where dignity lies too. my job as I deal with people, I deal with a lot of homeless people, and the one thing that's left that they have left, like they can lose everything, but the one thing they have left is their dignity, and that's that level of respect to keep their dignity intact, and that's part of what I do. That's part of what my partners do. Whenever I have to deal with them, is we want to make sure that we keep their dignity intact. Because at the end of the day, that's the last piece of sliver of respect that these people have. A lot of them don't have much. They have a bag of clothes that they carry on their backs, and so we don't want to take away who they are as a person. And when this is the respect that keeps people on that level, to where you're not taking away who a person is as who they are as a person. And so, I'll read a verse real quick that kind of goes with this level of respect here, which is baseline. I mean, this is biblical, and so he speaks about it in Matthew. Give me 1 second. He kind of dives into it in Matthew 7. Let me look it up here. So he dives into it in Matthew 7, verse 12. And he kind of talks about basically treat everybody the way that you want to be treated is essentially what the verse states, right? So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the law and the prophets. So do to others what you wish to be done to yourself, right? So this is something that you give, right? This is the respect you give it to somebody. This is not earned respect. This is you're giving it to them, and in return, essentially, well, you don't really look for anything in return because you're looking at it as this is how I want somebody to treat me, so that's how I'm gonna treat them. And a lot of times you get what you get out what you put in, right? That's the mindset that we have. So whatever you put in, that's what you're gonna get out. If you put in $100 into the ATM, you got $100 in your bank account. When you go to withdraw, you can't withdraw $200. You can only withdraw up to $100 because that's what you put in. And so this is the respect where it's a gift, 100%. In every way, shape, and form. This is base level respect, right? Level 2. Respect of authority. This is another highly biblical representation of respect. And we're going to dive deep into this one because this is the one that I feel like is it's a gift, first of all, but it gets overshadowed by feelings. So respect for authority. So respect for bosses, people in the supervisory role, law enforcement, governing officials. And so these are people that were placed in these positions by God. And so as he kind of, as he breaks it down in the Bible for us, as he kind of breaks down the word, he has ordained everything. So everything is in order. Our God is a God of order, right? And if you come out of order, chaos happens. And so the respect for authority, when you come out of order on this respect for authority, guess what happens? Chaos happens. So we're going to go to a verse real quick. Had it all set up on my phone. And kind of lost it a little bit there. So it says we do not follow a God of chaos, each doing whatever we want, but a God of order and respect for one another and the governing authorities. So again, in this respect for authority piece, like I said, it's going to be the biggest chunk that we're going to talk about today. When you step outside of that, chaos happens. Mass chaos happens. Now, when you stay within that, in the order of respect that God, because God hands out all governing officials. So all authority is ordained through him. He hands it down, right? He is the creator, so he hands it down. When you come against the respect that he has placed down, chaos happens. So basically he's saying that he is not a God of chaos, because a God of chaos has no order. And within order, there is respect. There lies respect. And so this is huge from a biblical standpoint. This is huge from a societal standpoint. And I'm going to give you some examples here in a second. But I got one more verse that I want to look at here. Hold on. So kind of break it down in here. So I'll go a little bit deeper into 13. Everyone must submit to governing authorities, for all authority comes from God. Those in positions of authority have been placed there by God. So anyone who rebels against authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and they will be punished, right? For the authorities do not strike fear in people who are doing right, but in those who are doing wrong. So the authorities do not strike fear in those who are doing right, but those who are doing wrong. So when you look at the disrespect and the lack of respect for authority in today's society, when you look at those who are showing the level of disrespect to authority, it literally breaks it down right there. If you are doing right, there will be no fear. If you have fear for the authorities that have been put in place by the man upstairs, your fear comes from and within you, and something that you may need to look at. Am I doing something wrong that I fear this? I can think of an example right off the top of my head for myself, being an African American male. I'm supposed to be scared of the police. Supposed to be. I am not. Been pulled over multiple times. I was pulled over when I was younger. I was a teeny bopper. Had a Dodge. What the heck was it? A Dodge. What was it? I can't remember what it was. But it was a Dodge. It was a newer Dodge. Not the Charger. Avenger. That's what it was. A Dodge Avenger. That was my first car that I ever bought myself. It was nice. It was clean. And I used to drive around. And I got pulled over quite a bit in that car. My mom taught me at a young age, respect for authorities. You show authorities respect. You stay within the lanes that God has positioned. Bad things won't happen to you. That's what my mom always told me. So every time I got pulled over, you need my driver's license? Okay. I'm not arguing with you. Here you go. Because they'll come up to the window and tell you why they pulled you over. So I got been pulled over many times. You failed to signal, or you didn't signal, or you didn't come to a complete stop at a stop sign, whatever it may be. Come up to the car, get my driver's license out, hand it to them. Proof of insurance out, hand it to them. Registration. That's back when I was a teeny bopper. They asked for registration. We don't ask for registration nowadays, but they'd ask for registration, and so I would give it to them. I wasn't going to sit there and argue, oh, you pull me over because I'm black, or you pull me over because I'm this. I've been in cars with tinted windows. And I've had my buddies say, you pulled us over because we're black. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, they can't even see inside the car. So I don't know how you got the fact that they pulled you over because you're black. But that's the mindset of society today. The mindset of society is we do not respect authority. And that goes into the homes, right? So that lack of respect for authority goes into the homes. So now you've got parents who have kids that don't respect them. We're going to dive into that one too. So God has also commanded for children. In Ephesians 6:1-3, children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord. For this is the right thing to do. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. The first commandment to kids, to children, with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you, and you will have a long life on this earth. That verse is touching to me because over the past about year and a half or so, I've seen a lot of more teen deaths in my city. And so that verse really hits home right there. You know, if we teach our kids the values of respect, we teach our kids what it means. As parents, we do our job, because at the end of the day, if one of my kids is shot and killed in a gang violence, that is 100% my fault. That is my fault for failing my kid as a parent. Now, if he's an innocent bystander and he was there in the wrong place at the wrong time, me as a parent, it still comes back to me because I'm the reason why they were allowed to be there, right? There's something that I didn't do as a parent, and there's something missing, and so they end up out there. There's plenty of times when I could have been in situations when I was a teen that I probably shouldn't be here today. But my mom did not let me and my brothers go to those situations, right? She taught us from a young age respect for authority, respect for your parents, respect for elders. She taught us these principles at a young age, right? We carried them throughout our lifetime. Now, I grew up in what you would consider a hard, rough part of town. In fact, there's bullet holes in my mom's house, my mom's old house as we speak. Bullet holes in the tree. We used to hear drive-by shootings all the time. And so the opportunities were there for me to go do these things and go put myself in these positions. But my mom never let me put myself in these positions because she did not teach us like parents teach their kids now. She did not shelter us from the world, right? She didn't shelter us from what could happen. She taught us what to do when things happen, right? Or she taught us things to do that would prevent us from being in position for things like that to happen, i.e. respect for authority. That was huge in the Thompson household. Huge. And I think that if we get back to the principles that have been talked about in the Bible, which, I mean, even churches don't even go back to the principles that are talked about in the Bible. I know where I go, where I've been going, helping out the teens, we talk about this type of stuff because this is important. This stuff saves lives, literally. So respecting authority is huge, and it is a huge missing thing in our society. And now we got teens dying. If they don't respect authority, they don't respect the parents, they're not going to respect the sanctity of life. Life doesn't matter to them. And so it's easy to take something when it doesn't matter. So if life doesn't matter to you, it becomes easier and easier and easier to take it. And all it takes is a gun and a couple shots and life gone. And so that devastates families. That devastates, obviously it devastates the individual that has to go to prison or go to jail, spend their life in jail because they just killed somebody. A lot of them get tried like adults for these type of crimes, since they're high-level crimes. And all this leads down to a societal piece that we've gone wrong, whereas God said it, if you have respect, because he's a God of order, and in order for you to have order, you must have respect. And so you can't have one without the other. And so I think that society thinks you can have whatever you like, and then things are just going to happen. But then we look at society and see that it's mass chaos out here. And it's mass chaos because we're not following what the man said who created society in the first place. So we think we know better as human beings about what we need when we actually don't know better what we need. And so I think that we have to understand that if we go back to the principles that were given to us as far as respect goes, and understand that respect for authority is a key outlier, a key thing that's missing in society today, missing with our children, missing with our teenagers as they continue to take lives from one another, end up in prison. And then you have devastated moms out here as well because their teen did this or their teen did that. And I think that we think that we know better. And we, like I said before, we become a society of love and a no respect. And without, you can have love all day, but love doesn't establish order. And you have to have order to have no chaos. And I think you can go back and God flooded the earth when it was in mass chaos. There was a lack of respect. There was a lack of order, established order. So if you don't organize and do things in the way that you were created to do, I mean, you can think about the family unit. You can think about business. You can think about cars. I mean, you can go down to the basic fundamentals of life. If the car has pieces that don't work, it's not going to work. That's the reason why it's built the way it's built. Establish order. And so as we continue to look at the respect for authority from a kid's standpoint is huge. One, that lies on the parents to teach it. If you teach love, you better darn sure be teaching respect too. The next level of respect of honor. So this is the type of respect that you earn. The one caveat, the one that I said, there's only one that you can earn. This is it. This is based on the recognition of somebody's excellence and some quality or qualities. So you're recognizing their qualities or qualities. So it's like if somebody goes to school to become a doctor, a level of respect comes with that. So you respect them enough that you sit down on an operating table and allow them to operate on you, right? Dentist, they go to school, they learn, they spend so much time and money and effort learning their craft. And so when they get out, they get that plaque that goes up on there, and you walk into their office and you say, okay, you can operate on me. You can do whatever you need to do with my teeth, right? Heart doctors, world-renowned heart doctors. I had to deal with one when I was going through some things back in the day. They go to school. They go to extensive amounts of school in order for them to learn certain things. And so once they learn them, they get that plaque and they put that plaque up there. So they got their doctorate and their PhD. So they went to medical school, graduated. So the level of respect that you have for them, you sign a disclosure agreement saying, okay, I'm going to allow you to actually work on me. And you trust them. They'll open you up. So there's an element of trust that goes into the respect that goes with honor, because that is something that they earn themselves. And so it's just like that. You trust them to do their job, right? So you trust them to operate on you. If you go to the doctor, our nurses, when you go, sometimes you meet a registered nurse or a practitioner or physician's assistant. Sorry, I can't even speak today. So you talk to a physician's assistant. You respect them enough that when they diagnose you with something, you go take the medicine, right? You don't question that. You go take the medicine. So this is that earned respect that goes with honor, right? That goes with achievement. You can respect a person's achievements, but not fully respect the person, right? Or not even like the person. You can not like the person and still respect their achievements. So that's the only one that's earned. And this is the one that has the caveat to it. There's so many different intricate pieces to respect of honor that it's even hard to explain, because there's so many different intricate pieces to it. Four, we look into the act of valuing and honoring others as individuals created in the image of God. The biblical respect, right? This is different. So we went through the three. Now we're going to dive into the biblical side of respect. So you value and honor individuals, be based on them because being created in the image of God. Goes back to the baseline of respect, right? Elementary teaching. This is personhood 101. 2.0. We'll call it personhood 2.0. This type of respect is expressed through words and actions that demonstrate dignity, kindness, and love. Expressed through words and actions that demonstrate dignity, kindness, and love. So when I go talk to this homeless person, right, dignity is a word that I used earlier, because that could be the last thing that they have left. You nurture that. And how you nurture that, you can nurture with words. You don't treat them like they're just some homeless person or some homeless bum. Treat them like they're a human being, right? Show kindness, show love, be compassionate for them. Understanding that, yeah, they may have put themselves there. Yes, that's a fact. Yes, they may have put themselves there. But does that make them any less valuable to the man upstairs? Absolutely not. So be kind, be loving, be caring, be empathetic to people around you. Because you never know what their battle is, and they don't even know what your battle is. And so when you look at the baseline elementary school teaching of respect from the Bible, treat others how you want to be treated. So now you get the basis of respect. Right, now we got the basis of respect. So now we're going to go and take it into level 5. Marital respect. Is there a difference? That's a good question. I don't think we're going to answer it. So let's look at marriage. Not a contract, it's covenant between two individuals, right? So it's a covenant between two individuals that come together to become one. So 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 2 in this instance. 1 plus 1 equals 1. Crazy. It's not math. It's crazy because this doesn't make sense. Like to the Average mind, this doesn't make. How do you add two people together and that equals one? There's a reason why. It's called established order. And so marital respect is different. The respect that you have for your spouse is going to be different than the respect that you have for your friends. It's going to be different than the respect that you have for your bosses. It's going to be different than the respect that you have for your parents. It's going to be different for the respect that you have for your kids. It's going to be different than the respect you have for the police, for the governors, whoever. This is a different level. This is an intimate level of respect. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about intimate respect. It's a crazy concept, right? So intimate respect is different. This is a respect that is given. This is still a gift. Like I said, the only type of respect that is earned is honor. Now, can your spouse respect you more for things that you've accomplished? Yes, that is a possibility. That is absolutely true. That can happen. Can they respect you more for growth? That goes under the honor category. Yes, they can. But let's talk about baseline respect. Let's talk about level 1 elementary teaching. And then you can build on that, right? Number 1, you have to respect boundaries. You have to respect boundaries. So in a marriage, there's boundaries. Obviously, you got to stay within. It's kind of like when you're bowling. I suck at bowling, so I got to put them things up, them guardrails up. Those are the boundaries, right? You don't go outside those boundaries. When it comes to marriage, there are obviously rules. There are things that you can and can't do. There's uh-ohs, there's no-nos, and there's hell-nos. So the respect is different. So you got to have respect for boundaries. 2, you have to have respect for the person. So it's harder in a marriage to have respect for the person. That personhood respect that you easily have for individuals that you don't know, it's harder to have for the one that you know the most. Let me tell you why. You've seen the flaws. You've seen the flaws. You've seen the ups and downs. You've seen the things. You've seen things that you don't like. Whereas this person on the street, you don't know them from anybody else. You don't know them from an orange M&M. I don't even know if there's orange M&Ms, but there probably are. But you don't know that person at all. This person you know intimately. So what happens is you have an internal fight against yourself, not against not against your spouse. It's gonna sound crazy, not against your spouse. So you have an internal fight against yourself, right? Because you know their flaws. And a lot of times, what happens is when you know your partner's flaws intricately, it is naturally harder to respect them. So respect is actually work when it comes to marriage. It's not just a gift anymore. It's not just a gift that keeps on giving. It's work. There's battles within yourself, and there's things that you have to do within yourself to be able to give your spouse that respect, right? So point number 2. So I gave you point number 1, boundaries. Point number 2, understanding. It takes understanding to be able to respect your spouse. You have to understand them. And a lot of times people don't understand, or people don't want to understand, or people want you to understand them. It takes understanding. So you have to take time to understand the person that you're in the relationship with in order for you guys to be able to respect each other, right? Mutual respect. You have to understand it. Because there's going to be a reason why this person does things this way, and there's going to be a reason why the person does things this way. If you have, for an example, if you have a spouse, they like to control cooking, the way things are cooked. And so there's operation in the kitchen. Cooking, cleaning, is always constantly cooking and cleaning. Because when they get done, they don't want to have a whole lot of dishes piled up in the sink, right? So you come in and you're helping your spouse cook, right? You have to understand, in order for you to show them respect in this aspect of cooking, you have to understand why they're doing what they're doing. You have to ask questions. Okay, you like it like this. Okay, I understand. This is why you like it like this. The ending goal for them is to have no dishes at the end, right? And so if you come in and you're working in the kitchen with your spouse and you don't know that they have an operation in the way that they like to do it, and then you just start doing things your way and you're piling dishes up and this and that, and your spouse gets angry, right? Your spouse gets mad at you now, like, man, what the heck are you doing in my kitchen? Get out of my kitchen. That lack of understanding caused them to feel disrespected. So that's the reason why understanding is key to respect in a marital sense. And so you have to look at it like, I need to understand why they're doing what they're doing, so that way it helps me to do that better. Helps me to do that the way they want me to do it. Now, will you always do things the way they want you to do it? No. There's going to become caveats, and you're going to shift and twist and turn. There's going to be battles and all that kind of stuff. But understanding helps you to better be able to respect that person. And not understanding them for who you may want them to be or how you may want them to be, but understanding them for how they are. Because one thing a buddy of mine told me is that you actually have to take a person how you found them, not how you want them to be. So however you found them, that's who they are. Am I saying people can't change? Kinda. People can change, but they don't change a lot. You can tweak, but you can't turn. You can't do a 360. They barely can do a 180. Maybe 90 degrees. Maybe you can get 90 degrees out of somebody and they'll change 90 degrees or whatever. But in order for you to have respect in your marriage, you have to have understanding. So you have to understand why a person is how they are and why they do things the way that they do things, right? And so number 3, the third thing you have to do is be humble yourself. If you don't possess the ability to be humble, you're not going to understand and you're not going to care about boundaries. So you have to be humble yourself. You have to bring yourself down to a level of, I'm not better than that person, or I don't think I'm better than that person. Because if you think you're better than that person, then you aren't shrinking and respect boundaries or try to understand them. So be humble. Be humble in your relationships. Put your partner first over yourself. If you want it, try to do what they want. And then they may end up doing what you want anyway. That does happen. Number 4, the fourth thing that goes into respect in a marital sense is communication. Authentic 100% communication. So you have to be able to communicate how you feel. But you have to do that in a respectful manner. And I think that plays into the understanding of a person. But I think you must humble yourself first. Before you can even communicate, first you got to bring yourself down a level. Because a lot of times in relationships, one person does think that they're better than the other, and that's naturally how it happens. And it's hard for you to be able to get to a place of understanding if you think that you're better than the person that you're talking to. Because then you're not going to listen to them. You're going to have preconceived notions inside your head and think that you know better than the person that you're talking to. So if you ask your spouse a question and you have a preconceived answer in your head, you probably should ask them a different question then. Like, try a different question that you don't have an answer to, because if you already have an answer that you think inside your head, then you're already gearing yourself up not to listen to what they're saying in the first place. And so you can't have healthy communication if there's not a balance, which is point number 5. There has to be a balance in the relationship. You have to be partners in crime. Bonnie and Clyde did it best. They knew their roles, they knew order, and they were robbing banks left and right. So that's a ride or die right there. That's what they talk about. Some people say, oh, I got a ride or die chick. That's what they're talking about. Bonnie and Clyde. That's the example of ride or die. Till death do you part, literally. And so you have to have those boundaries. You have to respect those boundaries, right? You got to be able to communicate with each other respectfully. Humble yourself. Humble yourselves. And then try to have understanding. Because I think at the end of the day, understanding is the key to most issues that happen in relationships. Is there's a lot of misunderstanding. Because you got 2 totally different people that come from 2 totally different walks of life. 2 different genders. And so men are different than women. Women are different than men. So they're going to operate on a different mindset. And when they operate on a different mindset, what you have to understand as a spouse is that this person's different than me. And so in order for me to get where I'm trying to go, I have to be able to bring them with me. They have to come with me. You don't go somewhere by yourself, right? And so those 5 things right there are what make an intimate level of respect different. It's hard. It's the hardest type of respect. If you can have all the other types of respect and then struggle with this one. Or you can not have any of the other types of respect and be good at this one. It all depends on, at the end of the day, what's important to you. And so you guys have to ask yourselves as I close, what's important to you, right? What is important to you? If you have a spouse and you're listening, is that important for you to have that level of respect for them? Ask yourself that question. And if you don't respect that person that you're in a relationship with, can you love them without respecting them? Some people will say yes. I'm an absolute hell no to that. I think respect and love go together. Because it even says it is biblical. It's biblical. Expressed through words and actions that demonstrate dignity, kindness, and love. Right? That's biblical respect. So in biblical respect, you have to have love. You cannot say I love you, but not respect you at the same time. Them two things go together like peas in a pod. They go together like white on rice, like peanut butter and jelly. They go together. They have to be together. You can't have one. You can't split the two up. And like I've said prior, society has split those two things up. You have love in one corner, respect in the other, and it's like a boxing match, right? The Thriller Manila, it's a boxing match. And so we have to go back to the principles that were taught to us in the beginning. And if you have a life that's built on respect and love, you will go a long way. You will have a long, healthy life. You will prosper. You'll have great relationships. If you decide to have kids, you'll be able to teach your kids these values, and your kids will have success because you're teaching them these values. You know, your kids have kids, and you just keep passing it down the lineage, right? Whereas families that don't have this level of respect or don't teach this to their kids, they don't pass down the knowledge, the wisdom, generations are lost. And so you have a lot of lost generations out here in society today. And as I see it, as I've kind of viewed it over the last couple of years, I've seen firsthand the devastation that a lack of respect does to a society. I've seen firsthand. I've lived it. For like 40 hours a week, I live in it. I've seen disrespect in relationships, marriages. I've seen disrespect from kids, disrespect for bosses and colleagues. I've seen it all. Disrespect for life, not caring about the sanctity of human life. When you got murders out here, you got 14-year-olds dropping like flies. Teenagers not living the long, healthy life that they should. We bear responsibility for that. Like those, God literally spoke about that in the Bible. Respect and order go together. And in all those things are encompassed is love. So when you have respect, you have order. So you do things in the order that He who created us, who established the order, you do things in the order that He gave it to you. If you come aside from that order, God is not a God of chaos. But what happens when you come from that order that God has established? Mass chaos. That may be my next sermon. That may be my next podcast. I may speak about chaos. Because we're in chaos right now. The world is in utter chaos. And it's because we have gone apart from the order that was established. And like I said, an order is respect. Respect and order, hand in hand. You can't have order without respect. It's like a triangle. Order, respect, love. They all go and just keep going around in circles. And so, guys, as we close today, I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. If you like our stuff, make sure that you like and subscribe, share, help us get the word out. I got some cool things coming up this week, and I'm looking forward to getting some new faces, some new voices on here. I love getting the opinions of people around me. I've learned so much from just talking to people and having conversations with people that it's really rounded me and helped shape me to the person I am today. Through some anxious times, some ups and downs. I've had my ups and downs. I'm not perfect. I will never say I'm perfect. But I will say that I will learn. I'm adaptable. I'm a respectable person, and I try to push, and I'll try to help as many people as I possibly can. It's always been the goal for me. That's why I do what I do, and I will continue to do what I do. So this week, look forward to some great things happening. Got a couple people we're going to have on the podcast. Candace Burnett's going to be on Tuesday with my team. We're going to have Crazy Shonda and A. Marie back on here. We'll get them on here where they're going to talk about some relationship stuff, and it's going to be a fun one. And then got my boy Clint Harris coming on Thursday this week. We're going to talk about some manly stuff from the church. Going to get real biblical, real spiritual on you guys. He's been praying for it. I've been praying for it. So hopefully as we flow out the words, we can help maybe lift some people up out there that may need to be lifted. We may touch on this respect and for authority again too, biblical respect, marital respect. We may touch on those things too. So that may be a long one. So I hope you guys are ready to sit tight for that. But like I said, we've got some cool things coming up this week. Again, this is GT. I'm out.